Hey,
Hi, Gilad.
good evening.
Good evening. Gilad and I did an episode together at Binti Masaro's Shift into Permanent Alignment retreat in Costa Rica on how free will is God. And this is now the second time we're talking on the show.
Yeah, bro, it's a pleasure to be here.
We stopped describing our experience for 2 to 5 seconds. The complete absence of symbolization.
That's good.
No description. And just resting as the timeless presence. As the creator. I really appreciated what Hillary had to say about this. She's been saying that the people of the highest vibration, they feel differently on your nervous system.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. There is like a confirmation mechanism, like a sensors, so to speak, that verifies to you like this vibrational potential in the other, or like the clarity, the lightness.
Yeah, I like how you call it a confirmation mechanism. Yeah. It's like the level of realization that you have is verified by the nervous system confirming that the person that you're with recognizes a similar realization about their true nature that you do. And I actually realized after the retreat that I had contrast with people that didn't realize their nature, and that the vibration and the synchronization with the nervous system wasn't as strong. And so that was good contrast to have.
Yeah, so how is the other state feel with the people?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. It feels like more disharmony. It feels less coherent. It feels like less unconditional love. It feels like the mind and the ego are, because they are taking them on a big bundle of emotions and feelings and turbulence, then because of that, then they take on their local surroundings, including the nervous system of other people, onto those same trajectories. But the people that have practiced, they don't go on those same trajectories, but they can tell that, well, that those trajectories weren't available to me last week because I was around a bunch of people that had, in a sense, mastered their energy. And in this sense, now I'm exposed to people that haven't mastered their energy. And that's why all of these timelines are available for this egoic, contracted roller coaster ride into emotions and behavior patterns that are not love light. That's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm. And I know this experience. I experienced it recently. Also, hear this contrast after spending the time with the like-minded, like-hearted, similar intention, vibration, and deliberateness group of people, which creates like this unified field, in a sense, which even if not physically present together all the time, this field is binded through the intention and through this choice to come into this power together, into this vibration and this confidence, vibration and confidence. But then, stepping out of that and then mixing in the soup of just people, people that come and go and do their things. So then this difference you described was definitely felt like very much. What I observed is also how I sort of lower myself or mingle with this field. And in a sense, it's like seeing how one can become that field without enough will. Like take the shape of this field.
Yep.
How I took the shape to some extent of this field. And lowered my vibration, so to speak, or like the intensity of my focus and
Perfect.
will and the clarity. Not to say I didn't still radiate and was that also what I am. But there is this element of like feeling more dense.
Yeah.
More dense. So for me, it's like another reflection. There is work to do. There is like gaps to bridge. This gap of like a low vibration or high vibration. This dependence also on this or that. So then the question came up like a few minutes ago when we started, or a bit before, was, can you fall out? Can you fall out? Can you fall out of love or out of God? To lose it. Because with this beautiful, powerful vibrational elevation and high and clarity, and then suddenly, oops, where is it? Like it's gone, or it's like not so consistent. Am I anything? So it's a question. It's not like this question can be used also like as a philosophy. Like sometimes in the Neo-Advaita, like I'm already perfect. I cannot lose anything. So like in that way, I'm not using it in that way. I'm using it as a way to bring clarity to the moment and to sort of quantum leap back into the high vibration, the high density. Not believing in this statement, I lost it. It's like the subtle discernment of seeing, observing nature, the dynamics of energy, and the play of the energies. in the reality of it, in the substance of it, in the not believing my identity is locked and contained. So then that's a game like mastering master energies, or mastering, being the master of the mind, or therefore of what appears, or not the master, but having responsibility for what appears, together with this wisdom of knowing that clarity has nothing to do with what appears. Clarity is the innate aspect in existing, in Sat. Sat. Perpetual existence, truth, none never moves, never, always here, you know? So then it's like bringing this game, this simultaneous intertwined game of, you can also call it fourth and fifth density. The evolution of the mind, the liberation of the mind also, out of the collective sticky conditioning and vibrational pull, you know, the collective is like pulls this gravitational pull in a sense. So, evolution through the liberation of the mind, of the energies. And then on the other hand, or simultaneous to that, there is what is referred to, in my opinion, as fifth density, which is the wisdom to know the timeless perfection of all appearances and of everyone, and the innate unity in everything. So in that solution, it's all is perfect. There's only this timeless moment, which is seamless, made of seamless intelligence. See, so this is like these two games which merge into one in the advanced stages of the adepthood.
Beautiful. Yeah, there's a unified container that we were in that was very ascensionary and very pure and very reflective and very abiding as our true nature about 3 weeks ago in Costa Rica. And then about 2 weeks ago, we venture out of that container and into the stickiness of the matrix, the very 3D style, third density, humans, government, civilization, economics, politics, and propaganda, the media, fast food, high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, all of that. And there's a lot of people's nervous systems are conditioned by those more dense matrix stickinesses. And then when we leave that sort of vibration of truth, when we make contact with the matrix again, there's so much stickiness that the matrix tries to re-glue onto us, but that the more wisdom that one has, the more they're able to, in a sense, see that I'm not here to just go and martyrdom into the matrix and bring love into everybody's hearts in the matrix, but rather it's sort of like this wise, like, okay, that was actually a big part of my trajectory after leaving the container, was, in a sense, with the whole shift into permanent alignment, I had to renege a lot of my 2021 commitments. So I basically turned in a lot of my equity, a lot of my agreements on my 2021 projects because they no longer aligned with my highest excitement. And so that was a very fifth density style move with wisdom, was to turn in your equity and distance yourself from what feels like more sticky nervous systems with the people that you were engaging with at the end of 2020 and at the beginning of 2021. That felt more sticky when I left. And so I was like, I don't want to build any more with the 3D stickiness. And so because of that, even though there were some 4D vibrations, fourth density vibrations in there as well, there was still too big of a mix. It was people that couldn't even recognize their own emotional guidance system. They hadn't even mastered their own energy systems, their own thought streams. They hadn't even really entered into their own thought streams, as said Sotapanya, stream entry. And so taking the vibrations of what was in the container at the retreat and only architecting with just people that know themselves to that degree became a priority. And so that's where I started really following the highest excitement, the breadcrumb trail, and it opened me up a lot. It liberated my time, it liberated my energy, it liberated the conversations for me to have are now with more people that it feels good on the nervous system with.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yes. So it sounds you becoming more and more loyal to self-sufficiency, to intuition, these faculties of wisdom, of trusting the self, being invested in that, which is in that sense is the allness, is this invisible, transparent field of intelligent energy or intelligent infinity. So then yourself, like giving up to that, surrendering to that, relying on that, that's an act of amplifying the wisdom, amplifying sourcefulness, amplifying the knowing that you can trust your intuition, you can trust this like inner self-sufficient sourceful energy, and put aside for a moment like this drive to change and to be available for others.
Perfect.
And maybe also it has to do with the investment in the self, so sacrificing some of that also, which keeps amplifying the wisdom, seeing that your self-esteem is built on this clarity, this conviction, and not on your agreements and how they appear to be and how you appears to be and how you even deliver, so to speak. Like even if you're doing amazing and you're bringing like this light shining forth, still it's like in a sense, tell me if I'm wrong, it's like pale next to this inner knowing of nothing matters because now I'm choosing that this is the highest excitement and this is the highest service also.
Gilad, it would be like this: you and I having a conversation, and then out of the blue, I would have a emotion that would arise and feel like maybe I'm having a confusing moment for myself about who I am and what I'm doing here. And then I would project that into our conversation and into the environment, and I would start creating that stickiness, and it would drive the people around me mad because you're already at a high enough resonance consciousness wise of your true nature that you've bypassed this level that I'm talking about, where you no longer see a cloud come up on the screen and then become attached to the cloud and then have the cloud become your vibration and then share that cloud of an emotion around unworthiness or something to everybody around you. And that's why you mentioned also while you were talking that Sat, or truth or existence, as said in Sanskrit, the beginning of Sat Chit Ananda is always present and it's always with us, but it's the undercurrent of what our experience is. And we're just not subtle enough to recognize that that's the undercurrent. And for example, right now, I can't create anymore. I can't architect anymore. I can't design civilization anymore. I can't join into entrepreneurial endeavors anymore with people that have not fully communed with Sat, the underlying current, Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss, truth, consciousness, bliss. That you have to have fully communed in a union, yoga, with God, with the absolute, in order for me to be able to create with you now. That's the new standard. That's the new shift into alignment for me. And that's why you also called it a sourcefulness as well.
Nice. So this communion, it has like, it's like there's no like certain detector that tells you.
You said that the nervous system was like the detector. It was like confirmation. Yeah.
But I mean, my question is the standard is about like someone who just initially maybe has like this knowledge of this faculty or this Sat, because you can have a revelation, so a knowledge of Sat, and you can have like, which will be known, but then you can have a deeper, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So
I think it has to be at those depths.
That's the
at the depths in order to create together at this point. We did this shift into permanent alignment, not so that we would come back and create with people that had only tasted the truth, but to shift into permanent alignment to only build with people that had tasted the truth, or that are fully embodied Gnostic beings of the truth on a moment-to-moment basis. Because that's why when Bentinho and the team talk about if you build with people that aren't shifted into that permanent alignment, guess what happens? Holes in the ship happen. Because people become obsessed with needing to share their point of view. I am now righteous because I'm stuck in personhood, so I have to share my point of view because I don't understand that you're the same love light that I am. I can't architect with people that don't understand that they're the same love light.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point that it's at now. And I think that's the shift into permanent alignment for me and many others is that serious. And that's what's going to prevent holes from being made in the ship. That's what's going to ensure that the level of trust is at the absolute highest.
Yeah, I understand you. Yeah, it is like it is a ground for everything, basically. I agree, although something that it's in a sense it's one side of the coin, as I see it in this shift in alignment, just in alignment or within alignment. So
what's the other side?
So in a sense they complete each other, but I see them as differently a bit. So the other side is transparency. It's the transparency of the mind to the fact that it is, let's say, limited, conditioned, messed up. So then from that point, it can always open up or admit it's full of shit, or like I'm full of shit, or I don't know. And then this is how evolution and liberation can happen. You liberate the sick perspectives or the misaligned perspectives, and then they can evolve into truer perspectives and being in line with a certain mission or a certain intention. But then in that way, in that sense, it's, as I see it, it's not absolutely necessary for someone to be like very, very, very deep in possession or in self-sufficiency.
Here's the question to answer it, because you look at it this way. Is your service to maximize people moving from 3D, third density, to fourth density? Because the vast majority of what I feel like around sort of global enlightenment is really trying to get people out of person consciousness into unity consciousness, into that love, which is that kind of fourth density, and to optimize the architectures in order to get there, to maximizing the amount of people that go from third density to fourth density. To maximize it, I feel like we can't go and architect with people in like 3.5 and 4. But I feel like we have to architect with people in 5 and 6 in order to actually efficiently move more people from 3 to 4. Does that make sense?
Yes,
yeah. Okay, cool.
Totally. Yeah, it was just a point that felt important because still, you know, this journey is like, alignment is like this. Yeah. So there is a process, and the process is taking time. So most important is like the commitment to the process, the intention, the commitment, the consistency, the vigilance, and the on this inspiration, excitement, integrity, you know. So then this also of gaining more self-knowledge or deeper self-knowledge also happens by itself through this process. You know, it's each person, each being, it's different, and the nuances and the subtleties, from what I've seen, are different. So as I say, committed to the journey and have also like solid, stable knowledge of themselves, of this immediate field of isness, of here-ness, of sat. So that's a solid to do also the relative work of liberating and evolving the mind, and thus being able to be transparent and being part of a team or part of association with others, relationship, any relationship, romantic, friendship, you know, the ability to come from a space of transparency, of non-drama, of remembering why we are here, why we are playing this game, what's the purpose of all of that. And you know what comes also to mind is like the example of the team of Bentinho, which, from what I've seen, from my observation, you know, I'm not saying anything like personally about them, but not everyone there are like very, very deep into self-realization, or hasn't been. You know, they're also on the process. They're not 6 density beings. You know, so, and still they find just an example that comes into mind about like how it's also part of the seat of compassion. Okay, each one has his process, and that's also 5th density. Everyone has a process. Everyone has it's their time. So it's this patience, this allowance for the flower to open up, you know, or the fruit to become ripe. while having also this sensor that tells you, okay, this person is is coming from truth, but it's not like he has his thing.
What's their level of purity?
Exactly.
Is another. We lost Gilad for a second.
That also is like for the
that
people
was a good point.
For the people that are here, to remember that each one, still when we come together in whatever setting,
we just lost you for a second, but you're back now.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what another way to phrase what you're saying was around purity as well.
Yes, purity is a good way to put it. Yes,
because you're gonna have these situations with the nervous systems, and there's gonna be a detection of sort of what density the person is at, and then further is even if somebody is at a higher density that's beyond, let's say, love, maybe they're balancing out with wisdom, is to just figure out, well, how pure is it? Because where is it coming from? Is it coming from a place of wanting validation, right? And so, or is it coming from a place of really true just service to other people, balanced intelligently with wisdom and being God and seeing God in other people? So even if you've in a sense evolved to a fourth density style understanding or beyond, you might not truly see God everywhere always and not try and be extracting from it. So you might shift down to some third density matrix vibes occasionally.
Yeah. Yes, I get you.
Also, I just wanted to say that Gina and Hillary are ready for us to do another session with them. So I think this could be an interesting place to potentially start with them, because Hillary's quote is about the nervous system. Could be a good place to start together.
Yeah, and so I'll just finish and I say that, eventually when we play this game of evolution and coming together, cooperating and creating and all of that stuff, it's human game in a sense. So here what matters is the integrity and transparency and purity in that sense. So the self-knowledge, which it's like saying like the fifth density understanding, the penetration into Sat, is like a prerequisite. It's like a ground for that work. It's like a ground for detachment, for this transparency. It enables, it amplifies, it empowers this ability to come together and to play, want to create, and whatever you want to navigate in and to. So then, in that sense, as I see, like, as long as there is this ground to some extent, enables it, the being doesn't have, as I see it, doesn't have to be like super realized, like a super yogic, detached, like fully, because still very likely people have their human baggage, the lower chakras maybe, and stuff which are deep. But this level of transparency, this level enables whatever comes, things can come up to really like stand strong and get into this stuff and staying with discomfort within yourself or maybe with others also, and going on. From that perspective, it's like, again, it's like the understanding of knowing that it's like this radar, as I see it, is about like the entire being, it's like it's not a certain element of it's like you know the person, and then also the person is being put into test, but then you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like the colors.
Just feel it. Exactly.
It's just
calibrated.
It's coming like from, that the third density is coming from a place that's a little bit more yellow, and that the fourth is coming more and more from green and whatnot, and that this is kind of how it goes. But let's wrap and get let's get Gina and Hillary in. We'll do a little chair with 4 legs here in a moment. I'm so pumped. And we'll bring Gilad back on, because there's a lot of good dynamic here that I can tell is going to be really strong for moving forward. And so Gilad also had a recent session with Frank Yang, which was awesome. And that I think we're also going to do a threesome together with Frank in about 2 weeks or so. Frank's coming back on for episode 2 next week, so you'll see him back again soon. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Love you lots. Let us know how you feel in the comments below. The material we were referencing throughout the conversation is the Law of One. Go check out lawofone.info if you want to go and check out more information on the Law of One. Highly recommend reading that. And that's all. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video if it brought you value, and share it with other people. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Adore you all. Thanks, Gilad. You guys will see us back live here in a moment with Hillary and Gina. So much love.